As the clock strikes 7, the vibes alive. Inner circles here, where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the calls. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a Circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another powerful episode of the Inner Circle podcast where we amplify, empower, and elevate immigrant voices. Tonight's episode is titled More Than a Market, How Waterside Market Became a Community Hub. And we are honored to be joined by a true pillar of the Liberian community, Mr. Malik Kamara, one of the owners of Waterside Market in Brooklyn Park. Waterside is more than just a place to grab a good plate of jollof rice or African groceries. It has become a cultural anchor, a meeting place, and a symbol of pride for so many in our community. So we are going to, learn more about Mr. Kamara, learn more about the business and his contribution to the community. So welcome to our business segment. Every Wednesday, I'm here with my co-host, Randy White, and going to join today. Randy, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thank you, AB. Welcome our guests, listeners. If you're doing it actively or just listen to the podcast every Wednesday here at 7:30 Eastern Standard, Central Standard Time, you want to tune in. This is our business segment, and today we have our guest, Mr. Malik Kamara, a Liberian who's been doing some wonderful work in the community. And so it's a pleasure again for me being here, and I'm looking forward to a really fun and engaging conversation here over the next 1 hour with Mr. Kamara. Over back to you, AB.
Yeah, thanks for that. So, folks, you can join the conversation by calling our number 952-594-5154, contributing to the comment in the chat. If you have a question for Mr. Kamara, put a question or comment in the chat. And before we get started, that is a growing platform, Circle Podcast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we are all over. So join this movement as we try to amplify, empower, and elevate the immigrant voices. So thank you so much. And with that, Mr. Kamara, welcome to the Inner Circle Podcast. To get started, let our listeners know, for folks, I will admit, I've heard a lot about Waterside Market, but I haven't, I don't, I don't know you. So tell our listener who you are and how long you've been in the community and the motivation or the idea behind Waterside Market.
Thank you very much, AB, for the invitation. Thank you, Randy, for giving me this platform. First of all, my name is Malik Kamara, a proud Liberian. I have been in the United States since 1997, but I actually moved to Minnesota in 1999. And I've lived in Minnesota, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center ever since.
Okay. So how did Waterside Market came about, right? Because number one, when you hear Waterside is like anybody who knows Liberia, who knows Monrovia, right? It's our most famous market. Why Waterside? Why did why the name Waterside, and how did the whole idea, come about?
Oh, thank you. I've always been a business person from a humble beginning in Zozo, Lofa County, where I was born.
Okay.
My father owned a couple of businesses, including a gas station, and we also do the produce, cocoa and coffee season. We bought cocoa and coffee. So I grew up in a business family. My mother was a market woman. She went to the market, she sold in market. So that was my beginning. So there was a part of me as a child that I always, even when I went to school, I came back from school, I had to help my parents at the gas station, or I have to help my elder brothers at the cocoa produce shop. And so I even went to the market to help my mother sell the fish. So business was part of me. But my professional background is I have a BSN in nursing.
Mm.
So when I came to the United States, like many immigrant, I started off as a nursing assistant and then worked my way through the ladders, becoming an RN, and later went to Winona State in Winona, Minnesota, graduated with a bachelor in nursing, and worked as a nurse for the for 12 years before I jumped into grocery retail.
Mm. Okay, Randy.
Yeah, Mr. Kamara, thank you, and again, us as immigrant who transition here and looking to get acclimated to the U.S. here. Sometimes we look at people's success in terms of where they are in the U.S. and not really drawing the connection, from the upbringing. The fact that you spoke and highlighted your upbringing and how you got exposure, to businesses early on. How much of that do you think contributed into you and your interest in establishing the Waterside market?
Well, I think that had a significant impact on me. Even when I chose nursing as a profession and I work in nursing, um, there's a part of me that is always business minded. So in 2007, we started the F&G Beauty Supply Store that is currently
Okay.
on the Brooklyn Boulevard at 6930 Brooklyn Boulevard.
Okay.
And I did that business from that time up to current day. It's still functional. I still have it. Because even working as a nurse, I felt that there was an inner calling for me that says, you got to have a side hustle. You got
Sure.
to have something where you are not on the clock. You can hang out there. First of all, it was for just the pleasure of owning a business.
Okay.
But I always had that on the side, somewhere I can always hang out with, talk to, think about when I'm not working at the hospital or at the nursing home.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Just a follow up question. Uh, now Waterside market is a wholesale name. When you thought about the business model and when you started, did you for 1 second think that it was real for you to be able to have such a wholesale name business in one of the most active immigrant community? And now everybody, like last 2 weeks we had an IE Barrow. Literally, I was going to Waterside Market. I had to wait for 3 hours because of parking. Everybody that came out of state, that's where they were going. What is that market? What is that market? So when you thought about establishing that business and where it is right now, did you think it was possible to have something like that?
Thank you for the question. I wasn't thinking that it would be such a household name, but I always thought I love being a Liberian. I could never trade Liberia for any other country.
Mm.
I didn't choose to be a Liberian, but there was a reason why I became a Liberian. So everywhere, even when I lived on the refugee camp in Ivory Coast and Guinea, I was proud to be a Liberian. I wanted to be identified as a Liberian. And for every community that I went in, there is a part of me. I quickly remember visiting Florida one time, and I saw how the Cuban, they had Little Havana in Florida.
Yep.
And I'm driving through the street and I'm seeing Cuba in
Yep.
Florida.
Yep.
And it came to me, why can't we have this in our Brooklyn Park? Why don't we own every business on the Brooklyn Boulevard? Why not? Why can't we do it? Why are we Liberian now owning this? Because I always saw the power. It is possible.
Mm.
It is possible that Liberian can create a community that we call our, that reflect where we came from. And for the many years that I did business supply and I work at a hospital, and there was a moment in me that said, I want to go into a space, curate a space where reflect you of Liberia, where you don't need $50 to shop.
Sure.
I wanted a place where you can get $20 and you can come and get everything and make your dry rice. I wanted a space that reminds you of where we came from. Of all the grocery stores, and when I decided grocery were going to be the way I was going to go, and I look at it and say, listen, we do not own, there is no Liberian-owned grocery store that really gave you a taste of Liberia.
Wow.
None of them have lived the Liberian life. I was born in Zozo, grew up in Zozo, Lofa County, moved on to Monrovia later in life to go to school. And the life that I have experienced there make me who I am. And I wanted people to experience that life here. And I knew it was possible.
Wow.
So when I thought of the model of Waterside Market, first of all, I wanted a market that wasn't reflective of a typical African market. I wanted a market where when you walk in, you got a feeling that you are in Liberia. So if you remember, when you walk into Waterside today, you always see a big Liberian flag. And, people say, oh, you deter customers away from you. I say, if a customer decides to walk away simply because I am a Liberian, I have agreed to lose that customer because I'm proud of being a Liberian.
Wow.
I agree. I've shown that because other nationals are proud to be who they are. Why not us? Why are we trying to shy away from being a Liberian? What are we trying to shy away not owning Broken Power, Broken Center? We can own it. We should be able to own it. Yep. We have the highest concentration of Liberians outside Liberia in these two cities. So just a patriotic side of me, and it come out all the time. When Liberians are running for elected position, you see me coming out trying to make financial contributions. It's not like we are making more money than our counterpart, but I'm just proud being a Liberian. I'm just proud seeing another Liberian. My dream personally is I want to see Liberians do well generally.
Yeah, and let me just add.
Go ahead, Rodney. Go ahead. I mean, it's like I'm a fan already. I'm a fan. Go ahead.
No, I met Molly during an event in the political realm. I've always heard about Waterside Market. I've heard about the guy who owned Waterside Market. I didn't know him by the name. And when we engage each other, I'll be very honest with you, in the Liberian community, and this is one of the things we need to work on. And this is why, us having you on the show is so great, is we need to be able to embrace each other. The minute I reached out to Molly and shook his hand, had a conversation, he said, oh yeah, my man, I've been hearing about you. You know what? We need to find time to meet. I heard about the business you're doing. You're welcome to come to my place. And and throughout the last year or so that I've met him, his entrepreneurial spirit, it's really it's something he really wear on his shoulder. You can see it. It doesn't really matter where in the Liberian community. You always hear the name Waterside Market. Waterside Market did sponsorship. Waterside Market did this one. Waterside Market did that one. My question to you here, Mr. Kamara, is, given your level of engagement and activity in the community, I think one would agree that's why the community has gravitated towards Waterside Market, because people are sensing the fact that you're not just in business to make money, but you're in business to give back to the community. What would you say to other Liberian business owner, other entrepreneur, when it comes to serving our community?
Oh, thank you for that question, Randy. For years in the Broken Park area, Broken Center, I'm very data driven. We have over $2 billion with a B in spending power, the Liberian community. And we, for so many years, have empowered other people. And in return, they gave us nothing back. I vividly remember one time, and I wasn't into this kind of business, and Olin was having an event, and they were going to grocery stores asking for donation. And these people were all holding back money to give it back to our community. And I said, listen, and I even told this to one of the friends, I said, listen, This can be happening. We cannot continue to empower people who don't look at us as we are worthy or something. You know, I'm proud to be a Liberian. Nigerians are proud to be Nigerian. Guineans are proud to be a Liberian. I am proud to be a Liberian. I'm proud to be from Lofa Kande. I can never trade Zozo for anywhere in the world, not even for anywhere in the world. I was born in Zozo. Liberian man would say my belly button was buried in Zozo. It was buried right there. And I love my country more than I love anything else. And I understand some people have offense to it. Some people say, oh, it's my dingo. But I love Liberia. I love being a Liberian. So I wanted to show to the community that if we line up, because if we don't gain economic power, and I say this all the time, the reason why we have no representation in anywhere in the Broken Power, Broken Center area, we got to start with gaining economic power. We got to continue, we got to start asking ourselves, where are we spending our dollars? And where we spend our dollar, what is that doing to us?
There you go.
Let me just make a point without bragging. In this last July 26th, we spent over $20,000 of our own money to celebrate Liberia's independence. You know, reason being, we brought an artist from Australia. We contributed to the soccer game. We were not part of the Broken Center event. We were not part of Broken Center event. We work with OLM around the clock, the soccer association, anything that Liberia was mentioned around. We came out, we supported them in all shape and form. Towards the last minute, we heard there was a parade coming out in Broken Center. And I said, oh, wow, this is something I really love. I immediately took the phone. I called the parade organizers. I said, hey, listen, I heard you're having a parade in Broken Center. What's going on? He gave me a little bit of synopsis of what's going to happen. And I said, I want to be a part of it. You know? And I said that to say, if I was from Guinea or Sierra Leone or Nigeria or Togo, I wouldn't go there. But when I say, you know, this is my birth country. It's my people coming. And you know, when they told me what you want to do, I said, listen, tell me whatever you need, I will provide it. They said, oh, we have so many things covered. And I said, listen, it's going to be very hard. I will provide all the drinks. And the guy said, you sure? I said, yeah, I will. So on that day, we had one pallet of water, one pallet of drinks. And maybe I got like, I'll say 50 sack of a 20-pound water, ice. And I immediately went to the parade without being invited. I wasn't waiting for invitation. I don't feel like I need to be invited to Liberia. That's me.
Yeah.
That's me. You know, it's my community. I'm a Liberian. I don't need to be invited to Liberia. You call Liberian, I'm there the next day. I'm standing in line. I'm there to support, to raise the Liberian flag. When we support Waterside Market, and Waterside Market has the potential to grow, and other businesses, just not Waterside Market, we need to start teaching the Liberian community to spend the money to people that support us.
Right.
Specifically Liberian community, Liberian businesses. And I want Liberian businesses, if the community support you, we don't need to be begging you to support us back.
Yeah.
So we need multiple Waterside Market. We need multiple Liberian businesses that will come back to support our business. We have been in Minnesota longer than the Somalis. Right. English is our first language. We speak English. We learn English in school. Somalis have political and financial representation in Minnesota than us. Even the monk has it more than us. And it starts with economic empowerment. Wow. And I don't need to go back and forth with that, but Randy, you've been part of the political discussion we have had behind closed doors. Right. When our candidates come out there to run for public offices, people are giving $10, $5, $100, which is all appreciative, is good. But if we have like 3, 4, 5 Waterside Market that is pumping in $5,000, $10,000,
there you go.
I can guarantee you we'll have a Liberian in positions that will sit at the table and speak for us. Yep. You know, there is something, but we need to start building economic power. We need more Liberians to come to Waterside Market. We need more Liberians to establish businesses where Liberians will come and support them. Why we don't have the tire shop that is owned by a Liberian? Why don't we have a gas station that is owned by a Liberian? And when our people own those tire shops, we need to come out and support them. And then when they become financially successful, they need to come back and give back to our community. We need to keep our Liberian dollar in the Liberian community.
Wow, that's powerful, man. Listening to you for the last couple of minutes, I'm inspired. Is that I've already become your friend. As I said, it's my first time meeting you. Your passion for Liberia, right, speaks through your voice, and that's very
Absolutely.
powerful. That's very, very powerful. But yes, a quick question, and that's what I love about this platform, like bringing folks like you here, kind of amplifying the voices. But yes, yes, a quick question: Are you related to the owners of the Waterside Market in Philadelphia?
No, absolutely. I'm not related to him. I have met him
Okay,
on a couple of occasions.
okay,
I actually introduced myself to him.
mm,
His name is Afonso. I've
okay.
met him. I've talked to him, but we are not related.
Okay, okay. Yeah, folks, man, it's like, Mr. Kamal here is dropping a lot of gems tonight, very, very powerful gems. So our topic tonight is more than a market. Waterside Market has become a community hub, and you can hear that through Mr. Kamara's voice. He's passionate about the community. But that's how we established this platform, right? To give like folks like you the voice. We have already said it on this platform, and that's why even Wednesday is specifically dedicated just for business and finance. So why? Because economic empowerment will lead to political empowerment, and that's how we believe. Because to your point, you are very much right. We don't have any of those. We don't have economic empowerment in in this society, and we don't have political empowerment. And so the fact that you are so passionate about that and your support to the community is really, 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 really telling. But here's my question for you: What are some of the challenges, right? The early challenges you faced when you were trying to establish Waterside Market, or even the transition from a nurse, to an entrepreneur?
Um, I want to say mostly is financial resources.
Mm,
Financial resources.
okay. Okay.
Traditionally, a lot of the big banks in America, it requires capital to grow your business. It requires capital to start your business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in order for you to get the resources that you need to grow your business, in America, you typically go to the bank and borrow money.
Yeah.
A lot of the banks won't give you money if you don't have 3-4 years of doing good financially.
Yeah.
That they will look at it and say, he's doing so well, we can borrow him some money, and then we expect our money to be repaid.
Mm-hmm.
And that was some of the challenges that we faced in the initial stage because we were self-financed. Every bank that we went to after a year or two and tried to get some loan, they're like, you're not looking so good for us to borrow you some money.
Okay.
You know,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
like most
Um.
immigrants, we start from zero.
Yeah. 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 The other thing is, how long has Waterside Market been in business?
We've been in business now for the last 5 years.
For the last 5 years. And did you start at a location you're at right now? Is that where you started? Have you always been at that location for the last 5 years?
Yes, Waterside Market started in this location, but we started in the smaller portion.
Smaller section, yeah.
The small
Okay.
section was where we were a tenant for 2 years.
Okay.
And eventually, when the landlord was about to sell the property, we showed interest into buying it.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
when we bought the property, we decided we were going to expand Waterside Market and use the smaller section for on daily.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for that. Miss B, welcome to the show. My co-host. I have two co-hosts on the show, folks, on our Business Wednesday, Randy and Miss B. Miss B, welcome to the show. And we have Mr. Kamara in the building. He's already dropping some great gems for us tonight. So if you are ready, I'll give you the opportunity to engage Mr. Kamara if you are up to it. Or you want to
Good
take a
evening,
breather.
everyone. It's your girl, Miss B. I apologize. I was having some weird electrical difficulties. Like I had a short power outage and then everything came back on. So I don't know what's going on around here. But I'm really nice to meet you, Mr. Kamar. Actually, to see you again. I don't know if Abe has told you, I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
and,
Thank you.
and been name dropping Waterside here on the show. So it's coming full circle to have you on here as well. And I have done business tours with my organization in the past, and we've toured your space. And so I really like your story, enjoy the longevity that you've had in the community. And so, yeah, great to have you here tonight. I hear you're touching up base on a little bit of your story, and I hope if I I apologize if I'm sounding repetitive, but that those early humble beginnings would be great for people to kind of understand, like coming from Liberia, coming here and deciding to open this kind of an establishment would be great to get some insight about.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So when it comes to, Waterside Market has been around for 5 years, has been a staple in Broken Park. Where do you see Waterside Market, going? I know you said you want Liberians to take over Broken Park, Broken Center, but what role do you see Waterside Market play in that?
Waterside Market position, we want to position ourselves where we can mentor other people. Our story, we motivate the next Liberian person who doubt themselves.
Yeah.
Our story will inspire the community to spend their money to where it matters. I mean, that's where I see Waterside Market. I do not want Waterside Market to just be a market.
Yeah.
It's a social gathering. It's a social gathering point. Every day, a ball hatai. There's a group of people that come in here. They don't come to bar. They come to bar to drink hatai.
Oh.
And sometimes people come here for us to just discuss politics. What's going on in the motherland? How's things going? Who's just come from home? That's where I see Waterside Market going. But most importantly, I want Waterside Market to be a mental hub for the Liberian people.
Yeah. Let me come in a little bit.
Go ahead, Randy. Go ahead.
I'll make a comment and then I'll follow up with a question. Just given how open-minded you are, in terms of as an entrepreneur, as a businessman, maybe one recommendation that you haven't considered yet, maybe think along the lines of Waterside Enterprise, to be more enterprising. That's just a recommendation. The fact that you're so forthcoming about, hey, I'm in this space, but I don't want to be the only one. I'm willing to mentor other Liberians. There needs to be multiple Waterside Market. From your perspective, not just as a Liberian, but more so from a business entrepreneurial Liberian, what other business sector would you encourage other Liberians to really engage in?
Well, we are everything that we consume. We are consuming gasoline. If we have a Liberian business, gasoline, and the Liberian community say we're gonna stop there and get all our gas, it's a success. Yeah. Tire shops. If we have a Liberian tire shop and we are all changing our tire, it's a success. The only space we have occupied in Minnesota is the healthcare space, which was good. I have nothing against the healthcare space at all. I've been a nurse for 12 years. I love nursing, but I think it's overly rated. It's overly rated. We are using gasoline every day. You drive along Broken Boulevard, there's multiple gas stations that is not owned by Liberians. Okay? You drive around Broken Park, Broken Center, there's a lot of tire shops that is not owned by Liberians. So everyday commodity that we consume can be occupied by a Liberian. If the Liberian community say, we will support you, that is out for success. And Waterside would be like, okay, come in. This is what you need to do. This is the business registrations you need to have. These are accountants. My accountant, by the way, is a Liberian. My lawyers are Liberian. These are accountants that we can refer you to that can help you right off the bat. Start doing your accounting work so that tomorrow, when you submit loans for applications for loan to get your own building and stuff like that, you'll have your book in place. Okay. That's something that was lacking in our beginning. We didn't know that we needed all that because it's not done traditionally like this in Liberia, or at least my father didn't do that in Lofa County. We bought cocoa and coffee, and at the end of the day, my papa said, well, I think I got $10,000 a year during the season. Oh, Papa, you did well. That's how it was done. So those are some of the things that I think that I'm pretty open to. Like, okay, if you want to start a business, you have the capital, let's think together. Let's think what's feasible. What are we consuming every day? Because our everyday commodities should be owned by us. Our everyday, we have spending power. The Liberian community is underestimating our power. We have spending power. All the businesses in Broken Park, we are empowering people who are taking their monies to their countries. We need to start empowering people who will take that money to Liberia.
There you go.
we need to send that money back to Liberia. I say this, we have 3 warehouses in Liberia, 1 in Omega Station, 2 in my birth town of Zozo. These 3 warehouses have created over 10 jobs. Over 10 jobs. We have sent over 10 family members to school. Because once we create these jobs and these people are putting food on the table, their kids are going to school, we are helping to build Liberia.
True.
But we go to stand in line at stores that are owned by foreigners. We empower them. When they get financially successful, they go back home, create employment, do everything to improve their country. And then we still come back here and say, oh, Liberia is not going anywhere. Liberia doesn't belong to Randy. It doesn't belong to Ms. B. It doesn't belong to AB. It belongs to every one of us. And I can guarantee you, Liberia will not develop without the diaspora, and it starts right here in Broken Park, Broken Center.
Let me make a quick comment. During my last trip in Liberia, I have a logistic business in Liberia that's expanding throughout West Africa, and my business partners are East Africans. They are from Ethiopia and Somalia. So I went to Hargeisa, I was in Addis Ababa, and then I went to Liberia, and I took 7 of them. Initially, when they got there, they were only planning to stay 7 days. These guys stayed almost 2 months in Monrovia because they couldn't believe the business opportunities. You know, they couldn't believe the business opportunity. They literally right now they're putting pressure on me like, yo, Randy, you need to move Liberia right away because we have people that's willing to do so much investment. So like what you're saying is we Liberians, we don't recognize the opportunity that we have, not only the opportunity, but the obligation that we should feel in driving the investment and the development that we so coveted. You know, Liberia is not going to be developed by any foreigners. It's nice that we think like America or the UN or UNICEF will develop Liberia. No, it's Liberians that's going to develop Liberia. And I just want to say thank you so much for what you continue to do. And, you know, you're certainly an inspiration. So please continue it.
Okay, Ms. B, I hear you already buzzing with whatever buzzing in those brains. Let's go.
I mean, you would think I planted him, right, Abraham? With all the things that Mr. Kamara is saying here tonight, you would think I planted him here, or I brought him here to persuade you and others. No, I just want to continue to champion what he's saying is so true because we have the buying power. They've already done the assessment, they've done the research, and they gathered the data to see how much of a consumer we are as the Liberian community, just us. Forget Somali, forget Nigerians. They understand the buying power of Liberians. They know where we live. They know where we are. And so therefore, businesses want to be in that area. The car dealerships that continue to be on Brooklyn Boulevard is intentional. Car dealerships don't close down and leave. They stay here no matter what's going on. Why? Their highest grossing is here, right there on that boulevard between Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. They will not leave. And you know what happens? They tax us higher. The same car I would go and buy from Egan dealership, I'm going to pay more buying it here from a Brooklyn Park dealership. And we don't realize it, that we're the one driving that, right? And so I really am excited that you are here tonight saying what you're saying. Okay, please go back and talk about infrastructure and operations, right? There's a difference between why you are successful and the nice market is no longer, or, you know, other Liberian restaurants or establishments may be struggling. You talked about the importance of operation and infrastructure. Let us know a little bit more about that.
You know, I'm a hands-on kind of guy, so I'm very involved with the everyday running of the business. A lot of time, I always tell people I eat from the restaurant. You know, I'm not like one of those people who say, sell Liberian food, but I don't eat it. This is what I eat. And I say that to make sure that the food has to taste the way it tasted when I was growing up. You know, if it doesn't taste that way, then I'm not meeting my obligation to the Liberian community or to my customers. Get rid of it, throw it away. And that in itself makes the people that work in the kitchen to say, you know what, if he tastes the food and the food doesn't taste good, he's gonna throw it away. Because I want to give people that taste, that authentic Liberian taste. A lot of the other delis and restaurants in the Broken Park that is owned by non-Liberian, they don't eat the food. They are in it for commercial purpose. So I can throw out a dry rice right now that doesn't have any salt or sugar, salt or pepper in it. The next person is not going to tell the difference. It's going to take a customer to complain and they'll be like, oh, how is it supposed to taste? But that's different from Waterside Market. So we are that involved. My family and myself eat from here. So we make sure we provide the food that we will order eat at home. So that's why our food tastes better than most of our competition. Because our immediate competition don't eat our food. They have people that work there and they cook the food and give it to the customers, but they are not anywhere in the picture. They're gonna go home and eat different food because they're not Liberian. It doesn't matter to them.
Okay.
So we eat here. Okay.
Yeah, right in regard to that, right? You have a lot of competitors, right in where Waterside Market is situated, especially, the new model now in the African grocery business, the restaurant piece. And you have a lot of competitors there. How will you compare Waterside Market to your immediate competitors right within that vicinity?
We are number one. Liberian food. I'm not saying Ghanaian food. I'm not saying Togolese food. I'm not saying Gambian food. I'm saying Liberian food. We are number one. Because as the owner of the business, I taste the food every day. I eat the food every day. I'm not in it for financial gain alone, So unless you're not a Liberian, unless you're not used to authentic African food, and by the way, Liberia has the best food in Africa. We have the best food in Africa.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, you are one of the greatest marketers of Liberia that I've ever met, right? Who, since you got on this show, right, over the last 30 plus minutes, your passion for Liberia speaks volume, So you are one of the most passionate Liberian I have met in a long while, right? Your passion for Liberia speaks to your voice, and you can see that, and I hope you continue that. Well, folks, tonight we are talking more than a market, how Waterside Market has become a hub for the Liberian community, here in Broken Park, in Minnesota, and folks from all over the United States, everywhere now. When people come to Minnesota, they want to go to Waterside Market. So Waterside Market has become a community hub. But what's one of the boldest or bold decision, right, that you made earlier on, right, that changed the course of Waterside Market? What made Waterside Market to be what it is today?
Hard work and dedication. A lot of time when things are successful, people look at the end, but then they don't look at the story behind it.
Yeah.
In the early days of Waterside Market, I put in 16, 18 hours. Even when you look at the setup of Waterside Market, I wanted it to look a little different from everything else, everything that we have in the area. So it's a challenge to run a small business because you are the HR, you are the payroll, you are the mechanic, you are the housekeeper, but you have to love what you do. And when we started Waterside Market, I didn't have a second option. I was like, this got to be successful. It has to be. Wow. So you put everything in it. And I think that's it's a business, but it's also, I wanted it to, for me, for Waterside Market is life because I want it to be a representation of Liberia. I want it to be a representation of Liberia. I want it to be a Liberian success story. I want it to be a symbol of what is possible. I want other people. Some people even call me and doubt my Liberian citizenship.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not Liberian. And I said, why? Because Liberians have never done anything like this. And I said, okay. And because Liberia has not done anything like that, we have been Hispanic communities for over 50 years. Since we came to, OM was just 50 years, became 50 years this year. So we haven't set a history of what is possible in the Liberian community. And I want Waterside Market to be that beginning. And hopefully, we can add more and more entrepreneurs to this list. And hopefully, we can start gaining more financial and political representation because we need it. We really do. We need it.
Okay. Randy.
I have to
go ahead. Yeah,
the representation because what is very vital and different and unique is the fact that you understand your place as a gathering space. when people think about us gathering, they call it loitering. And I know you probably deal with this a lot from the police, right? But they don't understand culturally how that's how we are. We will leave our homes and come to a particular place or area and gather and be there for hours and discussing strategy and discussing politics and how that is important. And you connect you being in business and the importance of politics. Because too many Liberians, even those who are not entrepreneurs, working these 9 to 5 jobs, all they want to do is go to work and come home. Don't engage in politics. Don't care about voting, the city council, and all those things. And I know you being in business, you recognize the importance of who's in that city hall, approving documents, approving permits for you, building out that restaurant, getting that deli approved by the city. You understand the importance of having representation at that city hall and how it impacts you as an entrepreneur and a business. Can you speak more to that?
Oh yeah. I'll throw a little story in there. When we were being our kitchen took a little longer than the average kitchen it would take. Most of these people do not understand us, and when we went to the city council, and I'll tell you the importance of representation. When we went to the city council or to the city hall, they was just giving us the runaround, oh, this is not available. This is not available. This is not available. So one time I reached out to OLM and I said, listen, OLM needs to come with me. Let's go to the city. Let's find out why we're behind with our permit to operate, because we have all legally meet all the requirements. And believe me or not, at that moment on the city council, they had one Liberian. And that's the last time we had a Liberian on the city council. It was Winfred Russell. He was on the city council. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, brother, XYZ, this is the problem we have at the city council. Can I come? Can you come with me? Let's go talk to whosoever is in the building department. And he said, no problem. Come with me. He came with me. We went, talked to the building manager. He introduced himself as a councilman at the time and say, we just wanted to find out why his permit is being held, blah, 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 blah. And the guy gave us no apparent reason. But just by his presence there, he said, okay, I'm not working tomorrow, but I will come in to go do his inspection to see why he's not being held. So the guy came in the next day. He saw that there was no reason for us to be held back. And then he signed off on it, and we were able to open. So when Winkler was running for the city council, for the city mayor, we contributed $5,000 to his campaign immediately. But it wasn't for Winfred. It was for being a Liberian.
Yes.
It was for knowing that when we are not sitting at the table,
yes,
we will be on the menu.
True.
And the Liberian community has been on the menu way too long. But it's going to start with economic empowerment. I say this all the time. I can share with you some of the donations that we got during the campaigns. The donations are coming in 200, 300, And I mean to say that because a lot of people are working 9 to 5. They have to calculate how much can I spare to get to Randy, to get to Miss B, to get to AB to run his campaign. Right? So if they can only spend $200 or maybe $50, which we will appreciate, but campaigns are very expensive. Extremely, extremely expensive. This is where the Somali have left us. Woo. This is where the monk East Import have left us.
Yes.
Because they are able to say 10 business people, we pledge 5,000 each. I have even seen where they have business people came together in the Somali community and got buses and land buses out, and they took all the elderly people to go vote from these buses. Mm-hmm. The Liberian community cannot afford to do that right now, but I think we should start planning on how we can get there.
Yeah.
If we need to get political representation, we must first start with economic representation.
True.
And there's nothing wrong with saying I'm a Liberian and I'm shopping from the Liberian business. I'm a Liberian. I'm going to go support a Liberian candidate. We got to be proud of who we are.
True.
We got to be proud of who we are. It's really important. I hear people saying, oh, why should I vote for him because he's Liberian? Because he understands when you don't make that first contact to the law enforcement officer or somebody in authority, it's out of respect. It's not out of disrespect. It's not because he's lying. These people at the City Hall do not know our culture. So they will not speak our word. If I meet Randy right now and I talk to him, Randy understands where I'm coming from because he's Liberian. He knows my upbringing. He can relate to me.
Yeah.
You know, our community is so much divided on tribal, religious, and political line. And we need to let go all of that difference and look at who we are today as Liberian. What can we do to make this community part of us? I'm telling you, OLM has no funding, no budget. If they get anything, it's less. The Somalis were granted $3.2 million for their museum.
True.
You know, they just get granted federal state money. When you and I putting our money in there, we can get anything in return for it. We need to start putting our resources together. And I can guarantee you, I say this openly, Waterside Market advertisement budget is for the Liberian community. It's not for nobody else.
Yes.
It's for the Liberian community. Whatever way we channel that into, we will put it there. But we need to start coming together so that we can have representation. We shall have economic, political, and there's nothing wrong. Be yourself. The monks came here, they are doing it. The monks will never vote for you. They're going to go for their person. The monks do not shop from Liberia, from other businesses. They go to their businesses first before they come to the next business. Why can't we do the same thing for ourselves? What's wrong with having a millionaire Liberian? What's wrong with having a city mayor Liberian? What's wrong with having a senator Liberian?
Wow.
There is a lot of people in our community who are qualified. They have the skill, the knowledge to be an entrepreneur. They have the skills and knowledge to be leaders, and they want to go there. Liberians want to go to the Senate. Liberians want to go to the state house. Liberians want to be city mayor. But when 1 or 2 Liberians run and they don't make it, the next person, they start doubting themselves. I'm not going to do it because we don't have a success story.
Yeah.
We need to go around that.
You have validated what we established in our Circle podcast for tonight. So that your statement, right? You have exactly validated, because it's like to amplify, to empower, and to elevate, right? It's like, and that's what you have demonstrated here tonight. I'm a huge fan. Just meeting you tonight, right? Is that your words is like it's wisdom. I can't be like I have so much question here for you tonight, but like the thing you say, right, is like, man. Man, it's very, very much inspirational. I must say, it's very inspirational. It's like a call to action, right, for our community. Wherever Liberians are watching this, wherever Liberians are in this North America watching this, I think your message speaks volume. It's a call to action, a lot of wisdom in it. I said you're driving a lot of gems tonight. So, man, we are so grateful to you. And that's what the podcast is about. That's what this platform is about. And you are proving that to us tonight. So, folks, we are here with Mr. Molly Kamara, the owner of Waterside Market. We are discussing more than a market, how Waterside has become a community hub. You can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat or calling our number 952-594-5154. Well, Randy, man, go ahead. For me, I'm just here to. It's like I'm just here to watch you guys.
In my Liberian you can say, let me put you on my back. But to be honest with you, kudos to you. And I feel like you're preaching to the choir, because I've had similar situations. So I've always been one that said, "Oh, Liberian people are not doing this and this and that." About a year ago, I'm one of the teachers of First Time Home Buyer with ADC, and so I ran into Kamati and I was teaching a course, and the cohort, majority of the people in the cohort were East African. And so after I got done, he came to me. He said, "Damn, man, I didn't know you were in a space. If you're doing that kind of thing in the East African community, why you can do it in the Liberian community?" And the first thing I said, "Oh, Liberian people are not ready for that." But it was a moment that I took to reflect and say, you know what? I need to be in the space. I need to create the awareness. And one of the things we don't have as Liberians, to be very frank, we don't have that instrumental entity, right? That is so profound to our culture. We don't have it because there's not too many Liberian businesses that has longevity. Like right now, Waterside Market is a wholesale name. Every Liberian is so proud to say, "Oh, mommy, I get my phone Waterside. Oh, I come to Waterside. Mommy, meet me to Waterside." And I just want to, highlight the fact about branding. You have branded Waterside Market to the point where it's giving Liberian pride. Like when people go to Waterside Market now, they're not just going there to go buy the food. They feel like they're going downtown Waterside, Morovia, to be able to do that. And that takes discipline. But understanding your customer service is very, very important. How do you manage on a day-to-day, or what mechanism do you have in place to make sure that the satisfaction that these customer experience meets your expectation every single day? Because it's not just Liberian. I think there was one time I went there was like 6 African American in front of me, and I could tell, right, because the way they were speaking, but they were all like, "Yeah, I want the flour sauce, I want the spinach." That it takes branding, right? How have you and your team been able to really push that kind of brand from a Liberian perspective, where something we're not really used to and not something we're accustomed to?
Thank you, Randy. There's a lot of training. You have to, when you run institutions like this, you have to continuously train people, continuously remind them that customer service is key. I always say this: I work for Waterside, and the most important person in Waterside is the customer, because I don't pay anybody at Waterside. I'm an employee of Waterside. Waterside pays me, and Waterside gets their money from the customer. So if you know me, you see me so many times putting rice out for my customers. I take the waters out for my customers. And I do that because you lead by example. I do that so the next person see me doing it, it's like, okay, that's how much the customer is important to him. And then they learn. There's sometimes regularly training people, reminding them the importance of customer service. We're not perfect. We are not at the point where we are perfect. But I always say this: if you come to Waterside Market and you see an area for growth, please remind us. Just know that Waterside belongs to every one of us. It belongs to the community. It belongs to every one of us. There is area of growth. Even starting from the price comparison is very important. If you want to support a Gambian or whosoever you want to support because their price is cheaper, say, "Hey, you're selling this a little expensive than Waterside, your competition." We will investigate it. We will bring the price down. We will do whatever it takes to keep you satisfied. We don't have everything nailed down, but we are working towards that. Because I want you to always remember that Waterside Market will be there for this Liberian community, no matter what it is. And I can guarantee you none of our competition will do that for you, because they don't have any interest in where we came from. Okay. So a Waterside is not perfect, but Waterside will be to your door. Waterside will be there when Liberian need is called, and you see something that is not working, bring it to my attention. We'll work on it. And I tell my staff that every time. Check order pool prices, validate what the customers are saying. There's always an area to grow. Oh. And that just reinforces that every day with my staff, my leadership team.
Yeah.
Good.
The other thing to that, right? I was like, you keep, as I said, right, your passion for Liberia speaks volume. You really love the country, you love your people, but we have people that don't support one another, right? We have said it many times on this show. When it comes to supporting Liberian businesses, we don't do that much. What gives you hope, or what what I mean? Stuff. As long as Waterside Market has been in business for 5 years, what gives you hope, or why do you believe in Liberia and Liberians so much when we have difficulty supporting our own? You have a lot of, you say you moved here in the 90s, you used to have Kwaku store here that went down the drain, and stuff like that. And before Waterside could come along, there was no specific, Liberian grocery store, Liberian African, store. What gives you hope that Liberian will continue to support you?
Because I always I want to give the community back a reason to support me. A lot of time when the community came in to support people and they didn't give back to the community,
okay,
the community didn't see the reason to come back.
Okay.
The last July 26th celebration, we donated a huge portion of meat to the for the family day, right? We did that because we wanted the community to know that every penny that you spend here, we are willing to give you a piece of that penny back.
Wow.
That's something that a lot of people don't do.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very hopeful that the more people see that Waterside will be there to support us along the way, will be there for the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are 43,000 in the state of Minnesota, but it's not everybody that will come to support us.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of majority, even if it's 20% of that group that believe in Liberia as much as I believe in Liberia, support us, we are set for our success.
Mm-hmm.
But when they support us, we have to give back to the community. And that's something that most businesses do not do. And that's why Liberians don't see the need to come. So it's a two-way street. You know, it's a two-way street. We have to give back to the community when the community support us.
And then that kind of brings my next question. Though, right? A lot of businesses focus on profit, right? We live in a capitalist society. That's fair, right? Especially in America here. A lot of businesses focus on profit, but your generosity, especially around Liberian events, Liberian, Liberian cultural events and Liberian events, you are very generous. Folks have spoken highly of you. Why they focus on generosity, so much, especially geared towards your community. A lot of other businesses might not even do that, as you said, right? Liberian shop at so many other African grocery stores, but they don't get the same level of support from these businesses.
Well, whether I own a business or not, if I see a fellow Liberian, if I see a fellow human being, I'm going to come to your aid. But if I see a fellow Liberian, I'm a step closer to you, right? Mm-hmm. That's just who I am. I didn't come from a wealthy background. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast, I was born in Zosa. My mother was a market woman, and my father was selling gas station and buy produce and coffee. Mm-hmm. There were so many times things were not the way it should be. And we moved to a refugee camp in Ivory Coast and Guinea. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that experience, there were times we couldn't afford food to eat, depending on where you went and how the situation is. We couldn't afford food to eat. So that alone tells me that if whether being a Liberian or not is a business, if I see the next person needs something and I can afford to give to them, I should be able to give to them, because we don't take the money to our grave.
Okay.
It's not that important. Profit is important. I love the word profit. I really love it. But what's more important is what do we contribute? What's the legacy that we are leaving when you and I are not around tomorrow? Okay. So that's what matters.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I love that. Randy.
Yeah, and in the business world, we call it CSR, and it's not something we're really familiar with as Liberian, because, as you know, in Liberia we don't have much of a private sector, and even those that are within the private sector are all foreigners. So this is what Molly is referring to as corporate social responsibility. This is where a corporation or a business model is really engaged and is conscientious of the cultural fabric, right, that it operates within. And as I'm hearing Molly speak, I think what he's done is he's touched on why we have not been really successful when it comes to the political representation aspect. Because just think about the model we have in Liberia, right? When it comes to politics, is you only see politicians when it's time to vote. Right? You only see politicians during election time. Look at what Molly just said. Every investment that the community gave to Waterside Market, he's already got a business model that's giving it back, to the community. And he's so profound in giving back to the community. I think that's one of the reasons why the community over time has really gravitated towards Waterside Market. As you look so much in giving back, I would like to think that there's a metric that either you and your team either track or you implement and things like that. Are there, when you make these investments or you give back to the community, are there specific things that you are looking for? Are there specific return on investment you're looking for? Are there specific activities you're looking to see the community move in a certain way? Because you're a businessman, right? No one's just going to keep putting money into a black hole. At a certain point in time, there has to be some level of expectation in terms of return. So do you have that? And if so, is that something you can share with us?
Yeah. Of course, when we invest, from a business standpoint, every year we do have we forecast our advertisement budget. So based on the previous year, we'll say 10% of our net profit next year is going to advertisement, whatever
Mm,
that number is, and that 10% that we want to donate next year into advertisement, we could do magazines, we could do anything, but I personally choose to reserve it for my community.
mm,
You know, I want to reserve it for the Liberian community. I want to, and with that, we can kind of balance on which sector of the Liberian community are you more passionate about. You know, and I don't make that decision. I have a team of people that will come together and say, hey, we have the churches, we have the county associations, we have this, we have that. So by the end of the day, we come to a balance where, okay, this is what we forecast for this year advertisement, and based on that, we kind of try to play with. I'm focused on like the youth thing is like one of the biggest thing, soccer. So that's my team. But other people on my leadership team are more like county organizations, churches. So we try to balance it based on that,
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
okay. Uh, in a community, right? I mean, let's say that especially the Nova suburb, it's not only Liberians. Obviously, as you mentioned a figure earlier about 43,000 Liberians in the state. I think it's more than that. But in our Nova suburbs, it's more than Liberian. You have Nigerians, you have Ghanaians, you have Kenyans, and stuff like that. How do you hope to adapt Waterside market to serve those segment of the market, instead of just Liberians? Because sometimes, yeah, I know you love Liberia, I know you're passionate about Liberia, but having a customer base that's not solely reliant on Liberian could be nice as well. How do you plan to serve, or how are you currently serving those populations, those customers?
Yeah, we do have a good number of non-Liberians, and we cater to their needs significantly.
Mm,
There's a model of business where a lot of your supply is based on your demand,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we track how much other nationals come in and when do
Mm,
they come in,
wow.
and we do have a data of that. When do they come in?
Mm,
And I can tell you, for example, I sell a pallet of yam maybe every 2 weeks.
yeah,
You know, because that's mostly consumed by Ghanaians and Nigerians.
yeah,
So we understand that level of people that comes in every 2 weeks, we make sure we get a pot of yam. That's the length of time it takes.
yeah,
So we have all those data of who's coming in and who's asking for what.
yeah.
So we do have a section that is mostly catered to some of the nationals that come here, like Ghanaians and Nigerians,
Okay,
and we adapt to them based on what they are requesting. So for the last 5 years, that's been part of our study, is to know who our customers are, know your customers, who our customers are, and what they are requesting. And
wow.
as we grow to a much bigger business and attract more customers from a diverse African background, we'll be able to increase that section.
Okay,
But for now, we do have a very good sense of who's coming and when they are coming.
okay. I mean, just last week on the segment, we talked about KPIs, and that's what you're discussing right here, right? The importance of KPIs. Now, a lot of Liberian businesses really invest in that. Why did you decide that, hey man, I need to track my customers, I need to know my customer activity? Why do you focus on KPI? Because I see like you love data. You have been quoting data throughout the show, right? About 2 billion Liberian spending power, the 43,000 Liberians in the community. It's like you are so much into KPI. A lot of Liberian businesses, you don't hear that from them. Why, Mr. Kamara? Why? What is our market?
So like I said, I have a nursing background. But prior to this, I work in management.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
okay.
I work in upper leadership management. So I was actually a weekend nursing supervisor at Walker Mentalist Health
Mm,
Center. It doesn't exist anymore. And I think before I came here, I did 12 years of nursing leadership. So
mm,
a lot of that kind of shaped, plus my business upbringing kind of shaped in how I run Waterside Market.
okay.
My father had run his businesses differently. And my generation, when I came in, it was like, okay, where's my background? This is what I'm used to. So it's a blend of the both.
Okay, Randy.
Yeah, yeah. It's very, very interesting. We just had our segment last week was talking about KPIs, and right away I picked up on some of the numbers and the figures that you stated. Obviously, it takes more than discipline to be able to run and sustain a business model such as Waterside Market. And as you continue to grow, are there, when I drive by, I see like a construction going on to, I think, to the left of the building. Is that something that you're facilitating, or is that being done by somebody else?
No, that's been done by a Liberian sister. Prior to be alive, a Christian daycare. She currently runs a daycare in Crystal,
Yep.
Minnesota, and she's expanding to Brooklyn Park.
Nice.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wow,
I
wow.
know. I know her. My daughter actually went to her. My daughter actually went to her daycare until she went to kindergarten.
So that's the
Christine.
next. That's the
Yeah.
next guest. That's the next guest to come on the Inner Circle podcast. On our
Absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When you when you think about just Waterside Market, not just Waterside Market, but the Liberian community, in our two predominantly Liberian cities, Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center, where do you see the community going, and how do you see Waterside Market, impacting or influencing that journey?
I'm hoping in the next 10 years, the Brooklyn Park Brooklyn Center will be run by Liberian businesses, and the space that we want to create would be more of a mentorship space. We want to be able to say, hey, listen, if you want to do this business, I'm pretty open to talking to people on the do's and don'ts of business. I call it the unwritten rules of business. And I think as more Liberians get into those spaces, we'll
Right.
be we'll be mentoring them, we'll be guiding them along the way, we'll be trying for them not to make the mistakes that we made so that they can grow at a faster pace than we do, because we make a lot of mistakes and kind of slow our pace of growth. That's where I see Waterside Market being in the next few years would be a mentor spot. It'd be
Okay.
a spot where young, courageous Liberians will come and we can sit and talk and have a dialogue on what is possible and how to go about doing it so they don't repeat the mistakes that we made.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Well, folks, there's a 1 hour show. We have been having some good conversation here tonight. I mean, this is one of my best business segment shows so far, right? This is one of our best. Okay, Mr. Kamal, you dropped some great gems here tonight. We can't keep going all night, so we'll just keep dragging for a few more minutes and we'll try to wrap it up. So, folks, you can still contribute to the conversation by calling our number 952-594-5154 or putting a comment in the chat. But let me just ask you quick. You talk about political representation. I know, there was a tragedy in Broken Park, a couple of weeks ago with Melissa Hotman, Speaker Emerita Melissa Hotman, and I see this open. There's a Democratic primary on August 12th. We have had two of the candidates here. One of them is a Liberian. Has he reached out to you? Are you supporting anyone in our race? You're a business person, you don't have to say, right? But as a Liberian running in our race, Erickson said he was on the show you here last week. Are you supporting anyone in our race?
Oh, of course, I even share his flyers at the parade.
Okay.
I've made
Okay.
some financial contribution to the campaign.
Okay.
So if you know me, definitely I'm supporting him. That
Okay.
would be my choosing candidate.
Okay. 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 The other thing, I mean, Randy asked, what do you see or what are some market and things like that, right? What keeps you awake at night as you run Waterside Market, and as you look at the market in Broken Park, in Broken Center? What keeps you awake at night running Waterside Market?
It's thinking about what is possible. What is possible? Where we are. What is missing? How can we be better? What can I do differently?
Okay.
What can I do that makes someone to be proud to be a Liberian? What can I do to make someone that want to come into this space and do better? When people say Waterside is doing good, and I always say we haven't got to where we need to be. So it's always looking back, reflecting on my days, and thinking about what went wrong, what I can do better. and where I want to be.
In that regard, and do you see yourself outgrowing your current space and maybe moving to a bigger space?
Absolutely. I would love not to leave Broken Park, Broken Center, this
Yeah.
space, but I would love to have a space in other areas that is predominantly Liberian. You know, there's a lot of Asian stores that have chain stores.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Hmm.
we don't have enough of that in the Liberian community, and that's possible.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where I foresee myself in the future.
Okay. Randy, give you one or two more questions and we'll try to wrap this up.
Yeah, just one more. Clearly you have a niche when it comes to um, your connection to the Liberian community, and, and that's something I would definitely be reaching out to you and spending some time with you and seeing how best I can leverage your insight and your experience and some of your connections. As we've talked and met, I have my own mortgage brokerage. I've been operating for years. Most of my clientels are not Liberian, simply because I have some I've had some difficulty catering specifically to Liberian. Just something you've been very successful at, in creating a business model for, by, and Liberian. What are the key qualities do you feel like when you're talking to other people like me who have aspiration to do something that you've done, where it's like, hey, you have Liberians flock into your business. What are some of the key qualities you feel like, or recommendation you feel like you would be able to provide to someone like me or others that are listening to the show either now or after we go live?
Well, I always tell people if anything is too easy to be done, everybody would do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I can just walk up the street and do something, so whatever you start doing is going to be difficult, it's going to be challenging, but that sets you apart from everybody else. And when you talk to people, you interact with people, you have to understand that just now the physical expression of what they are telling you, but you have to try to understand beyond what they tell you. And just growing up in Liberia, I think I don't think there's anybody I relate to more than a Liberian because
Mm.
I grew up there, and I was like, so when I'm talking to them, I understand who I'm talking to. Just knowing them
Mm.
deeply, knowing your
Mm.
people deeply.
Mm. Wow. Wow.
Good.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful. Well, folks, this is a 1 hour show. We can't keep going all night. You know what I mean? Stuff, Mr. Kamaru, thank you so much for coming here tonight. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But as we wrap this up, my last question for you, a Liberian entrepreneur listening to you tonight, someone who want to enter, the business space, want to become an entrepreneur. What is your message to them? What is the message to aspiring Liberian entrepreneurs? What is your message to those who are already in business but struggling to make it? What is the message to them tonight?
Don't give up. If
Mm.
it's easy, everybody will do it. Don't give up. Look for mentorship. Reach out to people. Build a network. Talk to people who have been in the business so they tell you the unwritten rules of the business. Do not remain to yourself. Reach out to people who have done it, but do not give up. If it's easy, everybody will do it. And it's possible.
Wow. Man, as I said, right, you have so many great gems here tonight. As I said, this is one of our best shows so far. You are very passionate about your country. You believe in Liberians. I hope Liberians we can believe in ourselves the way you believe in us, and things like that. And especially, your words have spoken wisdom. You spoke a lot of knowledge here tonight. We really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. And folks, man, this is one of our best business segments so far. Mr. Kamar dropped some great gems in here tonight. Randy, any last thought?
Oh, just want to say thank you, bro. I really appreciate everything you've done for the community. The fact that it's been consistent. Your support just never seems to waver. And definitely, I'll be reaching out to you so we can have a discussion and pick your brain in terms of what some of the things I can do to be able to leverage some of your experience and connections. So.
And we are passionate for Liberia and a passion for the business world, for the business community. I think Inner Circle, right? It is your home. We'll try to bring you here 1 or 2 times to drop those wisdom to our people, right? Because folks
Thank you
need
very
you
much.
to educate the community. I think he did some great education here tonight. I really, really appreciate it. So, folks, that concluded our show tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we'll see you all tomorrow with Representative XP Lee running for District 34B. So thank you, folks, and you all have a good night.
Thank you.